Great Thursday night, everybody. Chris McDonald with you, McFiles Thursday. Grateful to see everybody in the house with us. And we were hoping to have Marie Miller with us tonight, but Marie's not doing too good. And Lori Mills was supposed to be with us this week. She's not doing too good, so we've had a few cancellations. But we have got the one and only Magdalene Rose with us back. We talked a lot about elections on Tuesday night. We won't bore you with that tonight. We've got some other fish to fry. Magdalene, it's good to see you. Thank you for stepping in and filling in for us tonight. How are you, dear?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Good deal. Listen, couple of big stories. I want to get your take on it. The U.S. and the Iranians have struck a tentative deal. This is really, it's not the end game. What this deal is basically just solidifying the 60-day ceasefire and Iran, in principle, agreeing to open in the Strait of Hormuz, and it's waiting President Trump's approval, and I guess that remains to be seen. But from your perspective, and again, we're a few generations apart, but do you believe? I know this is not something maybe that the younger generation is concerning themselves with tonight, but from your perspective, can we trust the Iranians? Do you think this deal sticks? And speak to the fact that what your generation feels about this whole thing in Iran, because I mean, there's older people that have some reservations with it. I don't have any reservations with what President Trump's doing. I just don't trust the Iranians. I don't trust the Arab world, and that's my drawback with this. But what you think about all this? And we're gonna get into some domestic stuff after this.
I think that the Iranians are completely untrustworthy. I also think they've gained very much from this war. They've begun to look like they're in that category of Palestinians who are all supposed to feel bad for them for some reason. So I don't think the Iranians are trustworthy at all. And the problem Trump has is because they're not trustworthy, it's very difficult to end this war. So it's kind of like Trump knows they're not trustworthy, so that's why he got involved. But how do you exit without regime change, which people will not support? And how do you exit then if you can't do regime change, if you can't trust them?
Now, when you say people would not support regime, are you talking about the Americans? Are you talking about our country?
Yeah. But I think if Trump said we're going to go in and do like complete regime change, boots on the ground, occupation of Iran, I don't think even a lot of the Republican base would be good with that.
Okay, fair enough on that, and I tend to agree with that. However, do you believe can you do a regime change without putting boots on the ground? Is there a way to do that?
I don't think so. Not unless you do such a bombing campaign that it is in effect regime change. And the thing is, regime change in general in a Muslim nation, it's a nightmare. I mean, you can't hold the people in place. Like you can't hold on to it because it's a religion that is based on brutality. Look at Afghanistan. So Afghanistan we held for 20 years. We did nation building. Girls can no longer go to school in Afghanistan. All it took was us leaving.
That's so
within
true.
within the span of 2 years. But 2 years after we left, it really crumbled.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Ridiculous.
And that is a great example, and that is an absolute fantastic analogy because that is exactly what happened when we left. And you could argue the same a little bit with Iraq because at the beginning, at least, it's what led to ISIS when Obama pulled us out so quickly and didn't estimate the cost of that because it was an unpopular war and he wanted to appease his left base, and we had the rise of ISIS, and then Trump came in and obliterated every one of them. And so I see your point. I don't think Trump's going to occupy Iran. I don't see that in him. But I think that he is a smart man, and I don't think he's going to sign a bad deal. And I guess we just have to have faith in that tonight. But I will tell you this. I think that the markets today exploded, and I think there is sentiment over in America that they're ready to see this get finished. I think they're ready to see it get wrapped up pretty quick. And I think the Iranians, my take on this is that the Iranians are waiting for Trump either to leave office or lose these midterms because they feel like if they get a liberal-leaning government in, they'll go back to doing what they're doing. And I think what Trump's challenge is he's got to make it to where it don't matter whether he's in office or we have the resurrection of Barack Obama again in context with somebody that they can do this ever again and get this uranium and make a bomb. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I think that the thing with Donald Trump as well is that his goal for Iran was to get rid of the terrorist leaders. But Iran's like people, I think, overstate how many pro-America people or pro-freedom people there are in Iran. I think it's greatly overstated. It's not a country that you can walk around in as an American or as a Jew. Like, let's just be honest about this. This is not a civilized nation. We're not dealing with it with a nation where people are just oppressed. I would argue North Korea is a more civilized nation than Iran is, because North Korea is built off a lunatic dictator family. It's like a little bit weaker. It's not really a religion. It's brainwashing. It's like Scientology. Iran is thousands of years old. It's completely built on religion, and it's a theocracy. It's a theocratic state. You can't change that. And that's why I sort of wonder, like, what was the plan once we got involved in this, or was Trump just afraid they were genuinely going to bomb us, which is a possibility.
Yeah, that's a great question, and I don't think anybody knows that but Trump. And you're right, because we are not dealing, and we've had other guests that have stressed this to our audience, and I hope they're getting the point tonight. You're not dealing with a normal country in Iran, because these people have a death wish. I mean, they just seem to see their country go up in smoke, and they don't care. And that's why I don't think the bombing threat even phases them. They don't care. I mean, to them, killing 42,000 of their own people, that's just every day in Tehran. That's just everyday hat there, and that's not good, because you can't kill an enemy that wants to kill itself. I mean, you can't do much to strike fear at an enemy that's got a death wish anyway, right?
Well, right, you can't do that. And I just think that at some point there's going to have to be an examination of the long-term plan here. And it might have been that Trump genuinely believed in February that Iran was getting towards a place that even if they didn't kill us, they were going to kill Israel. Like, that
Fair
might
enough.
have been the situation. If that was the situation, just say that. Just say at the podium, look, they were going to wipe out Israel, or they were going to bomb California. Like, just lead with the truth of it. I think Trump doesn't want to look afraid. I think that's what a lot of this is. I've seen reporting from DC about that as well. If that's the case, abandon that and say, look, they were going to kill millions of people or thousands of people, and I stopped it, and now we're in a predicament. Like, just own it.
Yeah, fair enough. Listen, I saw a segment tonight with Victor Davis Hanson on Hannity, and I thought it was an excellent take about what's going on with this right wing podcast movement that has turned on Trump, the Margie Taylor Greens, the Matt Gateses, Tucker, Megan, Hodge twins, that kind of group. And Victor believes that this anti Semitic trope that has reigned in them, that one of the reasons that Trump rebuffed them was their anti Semitic stance on Israel, since you're speaking of Israel, and that it was unacceptable to him to do the things that they wanted him to do, because evidently they were pushing Trump to cut ties off with Israel. They were pushing him to cut the financial aid off, not allow Israeli influence in America at all. And basically, to do that, Magdalene, are we not opening the door to Israel's enemies to take over, which is what's happening? I mean, you have AOC out there tonight wearing a hijab in New York, bowing down at these Muslims as if they're God. And I mean, it's like, I don't know what's gotten a hold of these people other than just satanic spirits, okay? But it makes sense to me that that would be why they turned on him. And he said that, when Trump didn't just bow down to their every wish, they started trashing him and calling him every name in the book. And now the personal attacks are coming from Megyn Kelly. Personal attacks are coming from Green, all of them, Boebert and Massey. And look at Massey, this principled Thomas Massey that we were told that was so principled, and he's going to release all these bad files. Well, he's down there fishing in Costa Rica tonight with Margie Taylor Greene. That don't sound too principled to me.
Well, it's not principled at all. It's not even remotely principled.
No.
Margie Taylor Greene is not, in my mind, a good person. Like, I think it's interesting how these people who are framed as great truth tellers, they have really bad personal scandals. Like Thomas Massey, not so much, right? His wife died, and we understand that on the other side of that, he remarried very, very quickly. And there's like a lot of questions about how much that woman was around before that. Like there's a lot of questions about that. So these people who we're supposed to hold up as these high benchmarks of truth and justice and everything, they're not ethical people. And I think this is Donald Trump's frustration, because he knows all the sliminess of Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert and all these people. And yet he's supposed to just go along with it and just say they're the honest people and we can trust them. And I think he knows that's nonsense.
I totally agree with that. Speaking of slimy people and unprincipled people, what do you think about this news that the DOJ has launched into E. Jean Carroll? And I don't think it would have taken a kindergartner to sit on that jury, Magdalene, and hear her testimony and believe her. And this is what's got me really questioning a lot of things tonight with our justice system. Look, I'm all for the DOJ investigation. That lady needs to be in jail. The guy that financed her was the same guy that financed the accusations of the Kavanaugh accuser. And I can't think of her name all of a sudden. Her name, what's the lady that went after Kavanaugh?
Blasey Ford.
Blasey Ford. The same money that was behind Blasey Ford was behind E. Jean Carroll. She launched this tirade and this accusation 3 days after Trump announced he was running for re-election in 22. 3 days, the same day that she did this, Jack Smith launched his investigation of Trump about the documents and other things. Jack Smith's bankrupt, by the way. Tonight he had to file bankruptcy. Karma's a you-know-what, isn't it? But when you talk about E. Jean Carroll, the thing that I don't get is I know they want to investigate her over her claims, but what about the jury? I mean, how can a jury have listened to this nutcase and said that she was owed multiple tens of millions of dollars, billions of dollars on Trump to bankrupt him when, again, Magdalene, that there was no proof? She couldn't even remember the year that this supposed incident happened.
No, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And how crazy is it that there's a guy who funds bogus sexual assault claims?
Yes.
Like, we were upset about Obama having a tan suit. And that was like, oh, how dare you? How dare you criticize Obama's wardrobe? There's a man who funds non-truthful accounts of sexual assaults against prominent Republicans. It's like, that's insane. Like, paging Kash Patel, perhaps get involved in that. Maybe get involved in the specifics of all of that and maybe like bust that open. Because we're always at a place where it's like, oh, well, Republicans are losing again. I wonder why. I don't wonder why. You don't wonder why. We know perfectly well. They have people who will fund $1 million efforts to do all of this. And we sit here and we go, we're not really going to call out the Clintons because, people don't really care. It's nonsense. And we're extremely held back.
We're very held back. But let me say this. I think that they don't just need to investigate E. Jean Carroll. They need to pull every single one of those jurors in, and they need to point blank put them under oath and say, were you giving money? I know that that's an extreme thing, and they probably won't do it. But to me, it sounds to me like a jury was bought off. And, this is the kicker. The Democrat National Committee, you heard the saying, follow the money. That money trail is going to go back to the DNC, I believe. I truly believe that this was a hit job from the very top levels of the DNC. And my question to you is, if that is proven, because that's the key, you got to prove it. But if that is proven, where does that leave the DNC tonight? And is there criminal charges for some of these people? To me, that's criminal. That's against the law.
Yeah, well,
you can't do that.
No, but again, why has this not been a main thing Kash Patel is dealing with?
I'll agree.
Like, what goes on with the Trump justice picks? Because how many attorney generals are we in now? We're like, so it was Jeff Sessions and Barr. I think we're like 3 or 4 attorney generals in at this point. And Trump has only been in office for less than 2 terms.
Right.
So if you really think about it, he just can't pick a competent justice team.
I totally
he
agree.
can pick the most brilliant, like, foreign policy people. Marco Rubio shines like the bright star he is. Like, he can pick great people for HHS. What happens when this man goes to pick law enforcement professionals? And, like, does he just pick based off who he likes hanging out with? Like, what goes on. Is there a secret advisor that for the past 10 years has been undercutting his AG picks? Because sometimes I genuinely wonder, Kash Patel is sitting there with the vast resources of the FBI, and his biggest focus is like mean tweeting CNN panelists.
Right. I'll agree with that. Anyway, I won't, let's see here. Let me take care of that situation there. But anyway, I'm with you on that. And not only that, and I'll just leave it at this and we'll move on to something else. But, Hilba, the U.S. attorney up there in New Jersey, basically told her when she won that judgment, you're never going to see a dime of this. You're just not, because she was representing President Trump at the time. She was his defense lawyer. And the judge in the case was so crooked. And I'm with you. Magdalene, where is this going to stop? This is a bigger picture question, not just the specific case. You sort of alluded to it with the Justice Department, but I think that people need to realize it's very hard to impeach these judges, but I don't think that we're going to go any further in this country because, every time we turn around, a rogue judge is stopping something that's right. They're always stopping something that will help the country. And it's politically motivated. It's not whether it's constitutional or not. And I think some of them make these rulings knowing good and well they're going to be overturned. But what they do, they pause what's going on because it takes time to appeal. It takes time to get it to the Supreme Court. Sometimes you can fast track these things at the Supreme Court. Sometimes you can't. But they know this and they do this deliberately. And that's why we're not seeing a lot of progress made with some of these things, and that goes back to Congress because Congress is the one that impeaches these judges, but we don't have the votes. We don't have the votes to do it because you got to do 2/3, and people are going to defend this crooked justice system to their grave.
Well, they are, and they're never going to accept the truth, which is that it's been killing us for a very long time. Like, we stand there and we know that we are being doomed over and over. And we just can't get anyone to act. And I kind of wonder, if Congress maybe needs to get more directly involved, Congress has to play a bigger role. Because I don't think they're doing enough to support the Trump agenda in either chamber.
Oh, I'll agree with that. That is a big part of that. Do you think Thune got the lesson? Do you think he heard the message Tuesday night? I tell you what, Josh Hawley's destroying his career being a Thune lackey, and the lady Capito from Nebraska is destroying her career being a lackey for Thune. It's a disgrace that the Congress stayed in power this week. It just had enough there to make sure Trump didn't have any recess appointments, and he's the only president that his own party blocked him from making recess appointments. The Republicans blocked Obama. The Democrats blocked Trump when they had the House. But I've never seen it, or the Senate, where the Republicans are blocking their own president. What's going on with that, Mag?
No, I've never seen it either. John Thune is a terrible majority leader. Not just because he's ineffective, but because he must be telling, not up and coming, but young men and women in the Senate who can have big careers, that if they don't back him, they'll have nothing. Josh Hawley is a hard right Republican. There is nothing moderate. He is from Missouri. There is no reason for him to do anything other than vote hard right on everything. And he's also personally an extreme conservative. He was an AG. He is a law and order guy. He was on the short list before the short list for VP for Trump. He is a complete conservative. John Thune has suckered him into some alternative reality where he has to be a moderate and back Thune, because if he doesn't, I guess he doesn't get the RNC money. You know who's actually in charge of dispensing RNC money is Tim Scott. He's the senator in charge of that, and we never hear from him. I'd like to get him more on record because he was tasked by Trump to allocate RNC funds for Senate candidates. So where does he stand on this? Because he's the most valuable person for some senators right now.
No, and let me ask you this. Can you not tell me that we don't have 5 senators in that Senate chamber? 5. That's all it takes to get rid of Thune. That's all it takes to call a vote. Where I know. You cannot tell me. I mean, look at, you mentioned Rick Scott and Tim Scott. That's 2 right there. Jim Jordan's 3. Yeah. Kennedy over in Louisiana is 4. I can name 6, 7, 8 of them. That should
Yeah.
be calling for Thune's head tonight. And nobody's wanting to do it.
No, it's kind of like a "what does he have on you" kind of thing.
I'll
Like
agree.
it's almost funny. It's like, what does he have on you that makes you behave like this? That makes you stand by while this lunatic, uncharismatic failure of a Senate Majority Leader does this nonsense. I would love someone to explain to me what he has been in terms of being a net positive. And every day, Rick Scott sits there with a little smirk on his face because he told us all this like a prophecy. He was like, Jonathan does not go outside. He has no idea what things cost. He's ineffective. You need a businessman. Trump does not even really know him. He told it to us. We ignored it, and we're suffering for it.
Very well said. No, that's very well said. Final question. Thank you for coming on, and I won't keep you much longer tonight. With everything going on with these redistricting maps, we've had some wins today. Louisiana, the courts approved their map. Alabama fast-tracked their case to the Supreme Court. Somebody sued to stop it. They're going to fast-track it to the Supreme Court. I see the Supreme Court doing it. Another thing that the Supreme Court signaled tonight, that they are going to stop this voting after Election Day. In other words, they're about to tell the country that if you get ballots in after election night, they're not going to count. So all this, we're counting ballots for 6 months after the election's over is going to end, or 6 days or 6 weeks. And they're going to give citizens the right to monitor these mail-in ballots like we've never been able to before. And they allow Trump to do that. It's a big victory for election integrity. With all that in play, I know that you've been a little concerned about the midterms, but has your pessimism become a little bit more optimistic about our chances in the fall, as long as people vote? Because that's the key to everything. We got to vote. If everybody gets out and votes, do you feel like that we're going to see basically a hold in the Senate and maybe a hold in the House?
I think we're going to hold in the Senate. I think we will probably lose in the House just because those House races, Democrats are so sneaky. And they also spend the first year before anybody declares just lying about what's going on in House districts. So I'm always very concerned about the House. I always question it. But I would say the election integrity stuff is going well. If Trump could get an ounce of support from literally anyone except the Supreme Court, it would be even better. Like there are things I disagree with the justices, but you have to admit, by and large, those justices rule for Trump.
They do.
Like, they're consistent,
No,
they're
do.
helpful. Clarence Thomas delivers. Brett Kavanaugh after his radicalization, which in some ways I'm happy about because he was a much more moderate figure before he went through all this. He is a hard writer. He rules on things Clarence Thomas takes a second look at. So if we could just get an ounce of support for Donald Trump in Congress, this country would be going much better.
Well, you're never going to get that, sadly. And I think that that's a fair statement. I know people get upset with Comey Barrett and Gorsuch and Kavanaugh sometimes. And look, we don't want, I don't care what party's in power. You don't want yes people to, that's why we have a check and balance system in this country. And other people, and that's why we have the judicial branch. When it's operating right, it's a check on the presidential power, just as the president's a check on the Supreme Court because he nominates the Supreme Court, and Congress is a check on them as their check on Congress because of the Constitution. And that's when a country's going right, that's when it works, and it's supposed to work that way. And I'm with you on that. One final thing, do you think that we're seeing a mini Donald Trump arise in California with Spencer Pratt? I'm hearing the same thing. He can't win, he can't win, he can't win, he can't win. I believe this kid has a shot, Magdalene, at taking Karen Bass down. I don't know. I may be proven wrong about this, but I just see some momentum, and I'm watching the comments by Los Angeles, the citizens. I know there's a lot of liberals that are probably would not vote for a Republican in a million years, but they got to admit, they got to look at their city, and their city is looking like a third world country. I mean, you'd be better off to go to North Korea and live up there than live in Los Angeles, California right now with the stuff that's going on there and the way it looks and the trashiness and the dirtiness, the homelessness, the needles, the meth, the drugs, the pedophilia, the corruption. I mean, it's going to take somebody that's not a politician. Sounds familiar, don't it? to come in and clean this mess
Oh
up,
yeah,
just like we did
I
nationally. Just like we did
I
nationally.
love it. I love the Spencer Pratt thing, not only because it's one of the most brilliant campaigns I've ever seen, but because all the career Republican politicians are so terrified. Like, it fills me with joy watching Spencer Pratt come out of nowhere and completely trash all prescribed notions of how to run a Republican campaign in the 2020s. Like, he comes out with this, he had an AI ad that I loved. It was women at a yoga studio. It was like thin, attractive women, like 30s, 40s, in a yoga studio, and they're talking to each other, and they're like, "I have a secret. I'm voting for Spencer Pratt." And another girl's like, "I am too." And one of them turns to the camera and she goes, "Are we all?" Like, it's so brilliant, and it's ruining political consultants' day. I will tell you this: I know several political consultants who are working on Senate campaigns, and you know what their candidates say to them every day? Well, why didn't you think of that? Why didn't you do what Spencer Pratt did? And they started saying things like, "Well, because I'm not a former reality TV show host, and I don't know how to do that." But the truth is, Spencer Pratt is the mini Donald Trump.
Yes,
He's more Donald Trump than anyone I've seen since Trump started. He stands there. See, Ron DeSantis is the Trump in terms of not caring what the left does. He's like a brutal pit bull of a Trump. But Spencer Pratt, if Spencer Pratt wins that mayoral race, Spencer Pratt could be president. And I know what it's going to do to Republican political consultants, and I love it.
Well, you just said something, and we got a dear friend out there, Rachel Ham, and she ran for Secretary of State here 4 years ago. And she told me, she said, "Chris," she said, "I couldn't get the Republican establishment to help me." She said, "I would have probably done better." Lori Mills, our dear friend who was running for a House seat in the State House, had the same problem. The establishment Republicans wouldn't lift a finger to help these candidates, these grassroots candidates. And I think the same thing's happening to Steve Hilton. If the Republican Party would get behind him, you'd see a Republican governor, Magdalene, over California, and a Republican mayor in LA. What kind of world would that? I tell you what, the Democrats think they've lost their lunch now. Wait till that happens. Oh, good Lord.
I know people who are working on the Hilton campaign, and I will tell you, they feel extremely angry at the RNC. And they feel extremely angry at the entirety of the operation. There's a lot of young conservatives who are involved with Hilton because he's very inspiring. He's also a very nice guy. He's like very pleasant to work with, very like ethical and appropriate, all that. And so they get up every day and they're like, "He could win. He could win. You're killing us." And you know who has actually been very helpful in the Hilton campaign is Kevin McCarthy. Kevin McCarthy has been a great help to Republicans in California. He's been a great aid. He's not even charging people. Like, he's just doing it for the mission. And I think back to when that moronic moment happened with Matt Gaetz and the getting rid of Kevin McCarthy as Speaker of the House. And this is no shade to Mike Johnson, because I think he's a lovely man and I have no problem with him. But we lost like a political gangster in a good way. And he is one of the only things holding together that Orange County coalition of affluent Republicans. It's very sad. We could take California, but the RNC isn't letting us.
I think I was about to ask you that question next. Did we make a mistake in getting rid of McCartney? And I tell you, I believe we did. And looking back on hindsight and the kind of jackanapes that Matt Gaetz has become and a complete loser that he's become, the Republican Party got sold a bill of goods by somebody that basically ultimately betrayed the party and betrayed the country, what he's done. So that's why politics is such a nasty business. I like Mike Johnson. I'm not in love with Mike Johnson. Mike Johnson could do a lot more than he's doing. John Thune could do a lot more than he's doing. And yes, the RNC needs to be disbanded, and it needs to be taken down and built back up again with grassroots people, because it's just it's doing more harm to the country than good. And I said it to you Tuesday night. I would rather you just stab me in the front. Just tell me you're going to go out and call God six genders and, be crazy. Don't hide your craziness. At least I know where you stand. I'm not going to like it, but at least I know where you stand. Don't lie to me.
Yeah.
Don't sit here and tell me, "I'm going to fight for you, Chris. I'm going to D.C.
Nonsense.
We're going to fight for conservative values. We're going to fight for our families, and we're going to fight for this country," and then betray us and stick a knife 16 feet up our back every day. They're liars.
They're liars. And Kevin McCarthy, like, I mourn Kevin McCarthy. And I see him sometimes on panels and things and videos, and I look at him like, we got rid of this man. For
I know.
what?
I'll agree.
It's like, for what?
And Magdalene, I have to admit, at first I thought it was the right thing to do because I didn't like him. But then I realized later what a mistake it was, and I said, we really had a fighter. He may not have agreed with Trump on everything, but he at least was fighting. He would fight.
The amount of money he raises. Like, people don't realize Kevin McCarthy is one of the best living fundraisers, regardless of, like, politics, Hollywood. It doesn't matter. Like, the King of England would go to him for advice on fundraising. He's a genius. And he also doesn't have, like, scandals. Like, doesn't cheat on his wife, doesn't have any, like, secret, like, families. Kevin McCarthy was pretty clean. By political standards, he was pretty clean. He's cleaner than Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert and Matt Gaetz. And then we look at what we have now, and you can't tell me Donald Trump doesn't sit there and is like, yeah, Kevin McCarthy would have gotten this done.
Probably so.
Kevin McCarthy holds us together in California, gets no pay and no credit for it, and then we're supposed to be lectured to by Matt Gaetz. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, Matt Gaetz holds no weight with me anymore. None at all.
No.
I think he's a Candace in a suit. Speaking of Miss Owens, before I wrap it up with you, she's in Russia tonight. She's claiming she was on vacation, but come to find out,
she's lying.
She's lying. She's speaking at a pro-Russian event. Does that not violate international?
She's a liar.
She's a liar.
She's a liar. Erica Kirk today faced a very legitimate death threat, and then it's going to be a bombing. What Candace Owens has done to Erica Kirk is an abomination. And, like, it's so funny because I was not a Charlie Kirk fan by any level or imagination. I thought he was overhyped in certain areas. He personally didn't like me. He blocked me on Twitter. And I am one of the people who at least once a week vehemently defends Erica Kirk because I sit here and I'm like, you think Erica Kirk, along with, like, Jewish killer bees and the mob, killed her husband? Are you deranged? Like, have you lost your mind? She hugged somebody at, I think it was her son's birthday, who she's known for, like, 10 years, and there was a photo of it, and this lunatic, Project Constitution, this ridiculous individual on Twitter, who has he's built nothing, contributed nothing, put out a, like, virtual press release and a video saying confirmed Erica Kirk moves on with new boyfriend. And she responded. She's like, you are a liar. You are discussing your life. You know what they want? They want her to give photos with metadata in them to prove her location. Yeah, Erica Kirk, who's facing death threats because of Candace Owens created a genre of hating Erica Kirk. So they want her to give them photos that prove her location and show where her children live. And that's the only way they'll stop mean tweeting her for a night.
Well, I'm with you 1,000,000% that Candace Owens. I just hope at some point. I know that Erica's. I think a dear friend of mine down under basically said it, and I think she's absolutely correct. That Erica Kirk is probably not wanting to jeopardize the case against Tyler Robinson. That's why she's not said more publicly. And she don't want to get muddy in the weeds. But I do believe that when that situation is settled, if I was Candace Owens, I'd be getting me a banker.
I'd be terrified.
She's going to need a big lawyer. And I'm going to tell you something. I've never pulled for Emmanuel Macron. I've got no respect for him, but I'm pulling for him and his wife. What's happening to your godfather? That I'm pulling for Emmanuel Macron to win a lawsuit, Mag? What's happening to me?
Every day. I hope and pray for it. I hope he bankrupts her. I do. I hope it's bankruptcy. You know what I love? There's this guy on Twitter. I don't know what his name is, but he tweets things at Candace in her style of speaking. So, like, he'll be like, people have reportedly seen, and according to sources, Candace Owens is having an affair. Like, none of it's true, but it drives her crazy because he speaks like her. And she has this assistant who is her chief producer and booker, who has all this stuff about how she's a good Christian and she protects children, all this. And she engineers, like, every day, the assault on a widow whose only crime is apparently honoring literally all of her dead husband's wishes. Like, if you really boil down the anger at Erica Kirk, it's because apparently she wears too much glitter, which she wore prior to the assassination and no one cared. and she is apparently too invested in keeping the thing that Charlie Kirk died for running so her children can have it and so it can help us win in midterms. Like, it's so crazy to me. She's just existing. And Candace Owens, I think, is so jealous of her that she's trying to destroy her every day.
Yeah, I'm. There's nothing about that I'll disagree with. But hey, one final question. I promise this is your final one. James Terrico, this crazy nut.
Oh,
Have you ever seen a more radical,
he's a lunatic
candidate than the Dems? What?
He's also annoying.
Has the
He's also
Democrat? He's
annoying.
annoying. He is annoying.
Yeah, like you think about it and you go, oh, he's annoying. He's terrible. He looks like a cartoon of a politician. That's what he looks like. I don't know if it's the lack of facial hair, although a lot of people don't have facial hair. It's just he looks like a Nickelodeon drawing. And it's so weird because he has no qualifications. He is a nobody. And they're doing what they did to Beto to him. Like, what goes on in the Texas Democrats where they find these strange, effeminate white men and make them pose with cowboy boots shot by Annie Leibovitz? Like, is it a rite of passage? What happens?
I know. Well, and Beto's out there claiming he's the second coming to Jesus tonight. He might need to check that with Terrico because Terrico don't believe God exists. I mean, he believes God's non-binary and there's 6 sexes and he's married would have had an abortion in today's society. I mean, just crazy talk. And I got to ask you a question because Ken Paxton released his first commercial ad. And he literally asked the Texans tonight, he said, is this Texas? Do you want this in Texas? And he said, no, you don't. And no, we don't. And I'll agree with Ken Paxton. He's going to get beat by 50 points. And that's my prediction come November.
It's great. Well, here's my question. Have we ever seen Beto and Terrico in the same place at the same time? Do we have any evidence that they're not just weird clones of each other? Because that's what it feels like. They sit there, they say the same things, they have the same campaign consultant. Much like that weirdo who funds fake sex allegations against powerful Republican men, is there a guy or a woman whose job it is to find these people and try to reboot them? And, Beto once in an interview had like a moment of real honesty, and he was like, yeah, I don't even know what I was doing. I don't even know. They kept giving me hats. I was given barbecue. Beto gave a moment of honesty, and I will never forget it. And I think that when James's inevitable failure happens, we'll have one of those slivers of honesty where he too says, yeah, I don't even know what happened during that period of my life. Beto talks about it like it was like a drug-fueled haze instead of him trying to become a senator.
I got a great comment from a dear friend down under Cleo tonight. She's with us, and I want to read you her comment, and I think this is excellent. She says, Candace interviewed Hunter Biden in a bid to win favor with the Delaware judiciary who will make judgment on whether to dismiss the Macron case. Just my opinion. I think that's a pretty good opinion.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's an excellent opinion.
Brilliant. Oh, yeah, that's brilliant. See, that makes sense because I could not for the life of me understand that. Rarely in politics do I just scroll past things because it's too ridiculous. I scrolled past that interview. I saw the trailer for it and I went, yeah, this is literal brain rot and I'm not watching this. And I scrolled past it. But that makes sense. And then at the end of it, like he's patting her on the back, like if anything happens to me, I want a friend like you. Really? You want a friend like Candace Owens?
Exactly.
Do you hate your wife? Like, what's the deal?
What did you think of Jill Biden tonight or last night saying that she thought Biden, her Sleepy Joe, was having a stroke?
Oh, isn't that convenient?
And then,
you bring that up?
But no, the crazy thing about it, Mag, is that she took him to Waffle House after the debate. That's the greasiest, and I love Waffle House, but I get sick when I go to Waffle House because of the grease. If Wordie's had a stroke, the Waffle House is not where you want to take your hubby.
Don't you love how the Biden family treats everything like after the fact where they're like, oh yeah, of course he was dying. Or like, okay, of course he was having a stroke. Like, yeah, of course I knew he wasn't running the country. But in the moment, they would have sworn on the Bible everything was fine. Like the Biden family, they're not just career liars. They have a level of delusion that they can enter into if it means they get to stay in office. Like Jill Biden's acting like, oh, it was so terrible. You were right there. Like, release a statement, pull him off the stage, do something. But she's like, no, Joe wanted to keep running. Well, if you thought Joe was having a stroke, why did you support that? You are not a hero here.
Well, I will tell you this. If my wife saw me on stage like that and I was struggling like that, I guarantee you, I know Kathy McDonald would have told me, you're not running. You're getting out of this race tonight because your health is more important than the presidency. And you're going to step aside now. And we're going to take our lumps and walk into the sunset. And the Democrat Party would not have had to force him out. I think that's the crazy thing about it, is that it took a force out for him. He would have kept going. He was never considering stopping. He was going to run, Mag, if they wouldn't have forced him out.
Oh, yeah. He wasn't going to stop. And this is the thing about the Bidens, is they talk about it like, oh, it was so scary. It was like so hard. You were there. Like, you were sitting right there. You were in the Oval Office. You didn't think, hey, like Papa Joe or whatever, maybe pull back on this. I have a hard time with the Biden family because they are such liars. I mean, we thought the Obamas were liars. Michelle Obama is 10 times more truthful on any given day than Joe Biden. At least we both know that the bad things Barack Obama did, he did because he wanted to, not because anybody was making decisions for him.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Let me ask you this. Do you think that the American public, and we've talked about a lot of things tonight. We've talked about the E. Jean Carroll case, talked about the Bidens, talked about Terrico, we've talked about the redistricting plan. Do you feel like the American public is smart enough to see through all this Democrat stuff? Because they, these lies that they're telling, there is still a group of people in this country that believe them. But do you think the majority of the nation has seen through the Dem BS and said, we're just sick of this? It doesn't register with the Dems in the Senate and the House because they're just still as crazy as they are out there in the left. But for the most part, do you think the country's caught on to the gig? And I'll let you wrap it up on that.
I think so. I think the country understands what's happening. The problem is really weird. It's not the voters that are not aware of how bad things are. It's the politicians. Like, the voters know exactly how terrible things are. It's just whether or not the politicians are going to act. Like, we're at this weird crossroads of the voters, especially Republican voters, want us to go hard and destroy things, and the politicians are the moderating factor.
Yeah, I'm with you, kid. Listen, thank you for having me on your show yesterday, and we're going to play that video probably next week here. But I want to thank you, and listen, hon, thank you for stepping in tonight on a short notice. I really appreciate you. I owe you one. I love you, and listen, you have a great weekend, and I'll see you next week, okay?
Thank you.
God bless, hon. Have a good night. Magdalene Rose, everybody. Put some fire in that house. Could not ask for a better fill-in. We had a lot of guests cancel on us tonight, and so I didn't want to have to run my mouth. I didn't want to. I had mercy. I had mercy on you tonight. You'd had to listen to me run my mouth for an hour, and that's not a good thing sometimes. So we wanted to get somebody else's opinion than mine, and that was mercy. I was showing mercy tonight, and thank God that God had mercy on us and Magdalene Rose was able, because that kid, she's smart. I tell you what, I just stand in awe. She can carry herself. She can talk about Iran. She can talk about Candace Owens, and she can talk about the Bidens. She can talk about Spencer Pratt. She can talk about anything, and that's just what makes Magdalene Rose a special Rose in my book. And I've told her, and she knows this, we love her as a daughter. I do, and I'm proud of her. And she's just started podcasting again, and me and her recorded a show yesterday. And we'll play that for you next week. It was good. We had about a 45-minute chat, and she asked me the questions. And I wanted to say, you're really digging at the bottom of the barrel to launch your podcast career again, kid. So I hope I don't ruin her ratings before she gets it off the ground again. But we had a good time together. And put some fire in that house for her tonight. She deserved it. That was some good stuff. And I appreciate her being with us tonight. Now, listen, I'm going to... yes, she is a smart cookie, Deborah. I'm going to give you that. I'll give you that. And I'm absolutely certain of that. She's going to go far. I want to do some videos with you tonight. Then we're going to take your questions we're going to take your questions tonight and comments about what's going on in the country. This is the man, we're going to show you the newswire, but this is the man that basically was arrested for threatening Erica Kirk's life tonight. And this is on the Gateway Pundit site. I'm going to take this off. Where am I at? Right there. Let's get that off. And that's not it. That's from another time. I was trying to find the Gateway Pundit. There it is right there. Let me move this up just for a second. Boom. There we go. This is the Gateway Pundit site tonight, and there has been a lot of stories I want to read, but this one right down here is very scary tonight. Texas man has been charged with threatening to kill Erica Kirk and bomb the TPA Women's Leadership Summit. Cassandra McDonald, she doesn't spell her name the same as me. We're not related, but she's a McDonald. 26-year-old man from San Antonio has been arrested after he posted a threat that he intends to bomb an upcoming Turning Point USA event and assassinate Erica Kirk, the widow of the late conservative. And Magdalene talks about how that Candace Owens and her rhetoric is leading and driving a lot of this, folks, and it is. I mean, she's getting in the heads of these kids. Jacob Winsky was taken into custody early Thursday morning by San Antonio police. That's today. Faces 2 third-degree felony charges of making a terrorist threat that causes public fear of serious bodily injury or disruption. And there's an event coming up June the 5th, that's next weekend, at the San Antonio Marriott at the Riverwalk. And Winsky wrote, "I know exactly where to bomb." He wrote in a follow-up post, "I can't wait to be the valet for her escort." And an account sent from his email said, "Death to Erica Kirk and every single speaker there. America will live on without these scum on the earth. Every Christian national shall perish in the bombing that will take place at every single Turning Point rally and event." Here is Will Kane today.
A San Antonio man was arrested today after he was accused of threatening to kill Erica Kirk ahead of a planned appearance at a Turning Point USA event. 26-year-old Jacob Winsky faces 2 felony charges of making a terroristic threat causing public fear. Investigators say he replied to a social media post about a Turning Point event by writing, "I know exactly where to bomb," and a message from an email registered to an account to Winsky allegedly stated, "Death to Erica Kirk and every single speaker there." Certainly a disturbing case, and one we will continue.
And we will follow that one too as well. There's other stories tonight that I want to share with you. We got some video from it. This is the E. Jean Carroll situation, and the Justice Department again has launched a criminal investigation into the funding that E. Jean Carroll received by billionaire Reid Hoffman, and funding that she can't even remember. She alleged in 2019 that Donald Trump raped her in a Goodman dressing room in the 1990s, but could not name the date or even the year this allegedly took place. Trump has denied the allegations and called her a whack job who's not my type. That's Trump. Carroll previously said rape is sexy and a fantasy. CNN's Anderson Cooper was so disturbed he cut to a commercial break. This is her talking, and I got something to say about this. I want you to listen to this nut job. I'm going to go further. She's a whack job, folks. She's a whack job.
I think most people think of rape as it is a violent assault. It is not.
I think most people think of rape as being sexy.
Let's take a short break.
Think of the fantasies.
We're going to take a quick break.
When CNN cuts to a break because you're that nutty, you know that you're a whack job. But I got to say something about this, and it's very. I'm being very serious what I'm about to say tonight, folks. Listen. What bothers me with this, and it's bothered me all day when I first heard about this and I thought about this, because this jury came back with a unanimous, when a civil case like this, it's unanimous. They came back unanimously believing this woman. What in the world is wrong with this justice system that's putting jurors in place to believe nuts like this? My saying, look, investigate the money, investigate Jean Carroll, investigate Reid Hoffman, but the jurors need to be investigated too, because it don't make sense and it don't smell right to me that there wasn't money passed. And I'm just saying that, just Just a thought. One of those just a thought things. The Justice Department is investigating this, and there's the statement. Andrew S. Butos says, in light of widespread reporting and intense media and public interest in the E. Jean Carroll matter in New York, the Chicago U.S. Attorney's Office can confirm, and you can't read the rest of that. I wish we could have. I'll just read it what it says. It's confirmed that it is not open and has never opened a criminal investigation, so forth. But they have. The DOJ has. The Department of Justice has. And so that is that. But they have launched it. That is contrary to what we're being told by the National Justice Department. They've investigated her. They're going to investigate the funding of that civil litigation that is on hold right now, and a source familiar with the matter that is focused on whether she committed perjury that she gave in a disposition which she alleged he had sexually abused and defamed her, and so there it is right there. This is Viva Free. This is, in Jean Carroll's own words, roll the tape.
Another thing that he and his lawyers have often spoken about is the lack of disclosure about a big Democratic donor funding part of this case. Was there a reason it wasn't disclosed, and did you view this as political in any way?
No, I just completely forgot.
She completely forgot who financed her legal fees? She completely forgot who gave her $1 billion to do this? Seriously? My question again, folks, if the jurors had any common sense, just a smidgen, this should have been tossed out. Tossed out. They unanimously said she was right.
That he even existed.
In your deposition?
Yes, in my deposition.
My team looked at it and thought that it was that her voice should be heard, that because she was challenging someone who's so much more wealthy and powerful, it shouldn't be squashed, and that providing that voice for people who are otherwise would be ground down by the system
that's the wonderful piece of humanity that financed this. By the way, he's the money behind the Kavanaugh accusations with Baisley Ford. She's another one that they need to open an investigation on. They need to investigate all this money. I can't even stand to hear his voice. He's an Obama guy. And look, I just pray this follows through. I do. And I hope they get to the bottom of it. And I hope that Jean Carroll pays with everything that she owns. I hope that Trump owns everything she's got. And that's just how I got no sympathy for stuff like this, because they ruined Brett Kavanaugh's life. They tried to. They didn't derail his Supreme Court seat, but they almost did over lies. Jean Carroll thought by doing this she was going to ruin Trump's presidential hopes. She didn't. It's time to pay the piper. It's time. By the way, this is called slander. This is against the law when you make false accusations against people. This is against the law for the people out there that think this is okay. This is slander, and you are not allowed to do that under our Constitution and under our laws of the land. And again, I hope that they get to the bottom of this and somebody pays dearly. Somebody pays dearly for this. I really do. And I've got no sympathy for her whatsoever. This is this is a Democrat, a couple of videos tonight. And men, all I got to say is if you're living in New Mexico tonight, don't worry about going to the polls, because this Democrat leader says they don't need you to vote.
If women, Democratic women, just show up and vote, we're good. We don't need any of the men.
Let me play that again.
If women, Democratic women, just show up and vote, we're good. We don't need any of the men.
And let the man hate continue. Let me tell you something, folks. Let me just give you a little footnote about the Democrat Party tonight. While they're got a 20% approval rating, Tapper tonight told Murphy that in Connecticut, and he just stared a hole through Tapper. Their approval rating right now is 20%. I mean, that is the extreme left of the country. That's all they've got. They have absolutely ran off the American white male from their party. You cannot be a Democrat and be just a normal guy, just a normal man. And stuff like that just reinforces that very idea. They don't want men. They don't want men in their party. They don't want manly men. No, they want waltz men. They want Terrico men that believe there's 7 genders. They want Pete Buttigieg. By the way, Pete Buttigieg is a homosexual, raging homosexual tonight. He's leading the Democrat field for 28 tonight. He's got 18% approval. Newsom's got 10. Kamala's got, I think, 9. And AOC's got about 8 right now. And I know it's 2 years away, but you got Pete Buttigieg out there in front. That's the face of the Democrat Party. They do not want heterosexual white men in their party. And they've made it clear they don't, and that's why the white heterosexual men have either gone independent or some of them gone all the way Republican. So enjoy your abysmal abyss, Dems. You've done it. I hope you're proud. Here's James Terrico's own words, just in case you think I'm making it up what he believes. This is James Terrico. He's trying to paint himself as a moderate tonight. He don't like meat. He says he's a vegan. So what does he do? This is the Dems party. It's like Magdalene said, they're a bunch of liars. He's out there doing barbecue videos and eating, trying to force himself to eat meat to make people think he's normal.
This is Texas. This is not.
There are many more than 2 biological sexes. In fact, there are 6.
This is Texas. This is not.
The American flag is such a complicated symbol for most of us.
This is Texas. This is not.
They're going to call me a radical leftist.
This is Texas.
You
this
are.
is not.
Something that you love that's not family or friends.
I love, I'm just saying this because it's on my mind, the trans children.
This is Texas. This is not.
Our southern border should be like our front porch. There should be a giant welcome mat out front.
This is Texas. This is not.
It is now existential that we try to reduce our meat consumption. I am proud to say that our campaign has officially become a non-meat campaign.
This is Texas.
Good Lord.
This is not.
I have to give the Paxton people credit. That's an excellent ad. And you know, he is denying. Tellerco is already denying. I didn't say those things. They took my comments out of context. No, we didn't. No, we didn't. I didn't give you a Bugs Bunny voice over that. I didn't mimic your word. You said it. And that's James Terrico. And you Texans, I don't think you're going to be that crazy. But anyway, that's what he believes. That's what he believes. That's what he believes, folks. But that's the kind of man the Democrat Party wants. That is the only kind of man that's welcomed in their party. It's always been that way. And that's why Spencer Pratt is driving the right and the left crazy. Spencer Pratt's a man's man. But he's just a normal citizen that's out there talking straight. And I think the one thing I respect about Spencer Pratt so much, by the way, Dennis Quaid, who I got to meet in person here in this city just 2 years ago, took a picture with him. We was at the Southern Gospel Convention, and he was promoting a gospel album there, and we had a chance to talk to him for a few minutes. He had just gotten saved. I think he's living in California, but he's living in Nashville, too. He's got dual residencies. But they asked him in a recent interview who you vote for in the mayor, and he said Spencer Pratt, and the reporter just went ballistic, and he said, why Spencer Pratt? Because he thinks Hollywood is just going to throw their lot in with the liberal mayor, Bass. And Dennis Quaid had the quote of the year. He said, just look around. And folks, Spencer Pratt, when you get down to his campaign, that's what he's saying. Just look around. Just look around L.A. You Californians, you got a chance to change course. You got a chance. It's the best. This is the best chance in 50 years, 30 years that you've had to change course for your state and these bigger cities. And the dominoes are going to fall if Pratt gets this, if Pratt wins this. We thought Tuesday night was an earthquake in Texas. Let me tell you something, folks. If Spencer Pratt pulls this off, and I'm praying to God he does, we need to pray for this young man. We do. I'm going to tell you something. The earthquake of earthquakes is coming, and I think they vote next Tuesday. It's the jungle primary, the top two, between him. Jesse's new nickname for the other one is Noodles, so I'll just say Noodles. Bass, Noodles, and Spencer. By the way, speaking of Miss Noodles, she got upset this morning when she woke up and found a homeless person outside of her house, and it was almost like that she didn't understand that there was homelessness in L.A. Like that's got to be the craziest thing I've ever heard in my life. She's playing dumb. Like, I didn't know there was homeless people, but I woke up this morning, there was a homeless person living outside my house. These politicians. Good Lord. Good Lord, good Lord. All righty. California, you got a shot. You got a shot to change course. Here's more of Terrico in his own words. I'll leave it like this. Roll tape.
Before we go further, I want to acknowledge that our trans community needs abortion care too. Defending trans Texans is something we have to do every day.
Let's see here. Let me play that again. There we go.
Before we go further, I want to acknowledge that our trans community needs abortion care too. Defending trans Texans is something we have to do every day.
Our trans community. I'm just going to say it. When you say our trans community, I'm assuming he means Texas. We'll see if that means him too. I'm telling you, he's effeminate, and Magdalene was right on. It's this effeminate. It's these wishy-washy, just women like men. And I can't believe the words out of his mouth that he says the trans community. Do you hear what he said? That they need abortion rights too. They can't have babies, folks. If I need to draw that in crayon for the left, if I need to draw that in crayon, and I'm not needing to be ugly tonight, do I need to draw that? Can I get my 6-year-old grandson on the phone and ask him, can a man have a baby? I guarantee you, Elias would tell me, no, Grandpa, men cannot have a baby, even at 6 years old. He will understand that. But this guy don't. California, Texas, you got a chance to write this course, especially you out in California. And I would make sure you take advantage of it, because you may not get this chance again. You may not get this chance again. This is, let's see here. I want to play, this is the illustrious Mandame. Tonight, he's not going to attend the Israel parade. First New York Mayor Israel Day parade this week. I think it's tomorrow, over the weekend. First mayor in 40 years that's not attended it. Roll tape.
You know, I said on the campaign trail that I wouldn't be attending the parade, and I've made my views on the Israeli government abundantly clear. And I also said on that same campaign that I would have a responsibility as the mayor of the city to ensure the safety and security of each and every New Yorker. And I don't believe that my presence as the mayor should determine whether or not a New Yorker is safe or secure. That is something we take incredibly seriously.
No, you don't.
And what we also take seriously as an administration is to ensure that we are delivering on not just keeping Jewish New Yorkers safe, but ensuring that Jewish New Yorkers understand that they belong in this city. Yeah.
That's like Hochul and him that's taxing billionaires into the moon, telling the billionaires, please don't leave New York. Please don't leave us. Don't take your businesses to Florida. Don't take, we're going to tax you to Texas, but don't leave us. And then he says with a straight face that the Jewish citizens belong in New York? Really? Let me tell you something, folks. This is Fox News. This is the story. That's the quote. And first time since 1964. Golly, it's longer than 40 years. That's 60 years, folks. Think about that. 62 years since a New York mayor bypassed this historic event. Eric Adams is going, the former mayor. But if you're Jewish tonight and you're living in New York City, just some humble advice from somebody that loves the Jewish people and somebody that loves Israel and respects Israel and supports Israel. We support Israel on this network. We get a lot of flack for it. But let me tell you something, I don't care. I don't care what we get for it. It ain't going to change McDonald one bit. It ain't going to change. It ain't going to change my support. But if I was Jewish tonight and you're in New York City, I'd be finding me another place to live. And I'd be finding a place to live quick. That's just a thought. Just some humble advice. Because your mayor hates you. Your mayor hates you, and that hate's going to pass down to the citizenry of the city. It's already doing it, honestly. It's already doing it. This is, I had some other video, and I don't know what happened to them all. But anyway, this is AOC today, and I'm going to start taking your questions.
To our neighbors, our community, and to this country, we can bring light.
By the way, they forced her to do that. Mandami was at this event. This was a pro-Muslim event. It's amazing he can find time to go to this. It's amazing that AOC has time to go to this. But they can't go to an Israel Day parade. And forced her to put on that hijab. And they got video of her bowing down, literally getting on the ground, kissing the ground to some of these imams that were there today. Disgusting. Disgusting. It's absolutely pathetic. And not cool at all. Let's see here. Is this Terrico again? Yes, I think it is. I think we've already played that one. Anyway, let me go back real quick. Give me 5 more minutes. I want to go back to the Gateway Pundit site because there's some other stories I want to mention to you tonight that we're following. And we won't be with you tomorrow night, but we'll pick this up next week. Lori Mills is going to be with us. Hopefully she's going to be with us before the election. There was a mass firing tonight at 60 Minutes, and I think this is the beginning of a house cleaning in the media. CBS News Chief Barry Weiss has fired far-left 60 Minutes executive producer and anti-Trump correspondent. There she is right there, and she's not happy about it tonight. She is squalling and just ripping Weiss and whipping, just ripping Trump and blaming him for this. But Nikki Bilton is going to be the new executive producer, and Sharon Alfonso and Cecilia Vega was also shown the door after this constant bull-ass network continued to go left, and she's been cleaning the swamp, and I think it's absolutely good that is happening. And there is I thought the name was on there, but it wasn't. But this lady got fired, and two other there we go. It's Tanya Simon, 30-year-old fixture at the program and daughter of legendary correspondent Bob Simon with Nick Bolton, a tech journalist, former New York Times columnist and documentary filmmaker with zero experience in traditional broadcast news. They have been let go and fired. And so anyway, they're gone. And Barry Weiss, I welcome. I'm grateful that she's had the guts to do this, and I'm hoping that this is a start of other networks having a house cleaning. I really am. I do. A couple of other things. Whitmer's out. She's not running for president. Here is the noodle. This is the noodle. This is going to make you laugh. This is the other one running for mayor. Nathia Ramon, R-A-M-A-N. That's why Waters called her a noodle. The Ramon noodles. I'm probably mispronouncing that. This is what she had to say this morning. She got up and didn't realize there were homeless people in L.A.
So I woke up this morning to a sound of commotion outside of my window, and I looked out the window and I realized that there were people setting up what was, I think, a fake encampment, like a homeless encampment outside of my house. Multiple people gathered there filming it to make shooting something with cameras and things like that outside of my house.
Yeah.
I think to make a political video that would talk about how I don't want this at all, but how I'm, that this is somebody who wants encampments on our streets, that she lets encampments be there. I have 2 little kids.
Yeah.
They didn't see it, luckily, this morning, but I feel badly that I'm even subjecting them to that at all, but
you're subjecting the people of LA to that, ma'am. You're so worried about your own family, but you're not worried about the families of Los Angeles. This is what makes us despise politicians. This is what makes us absolutely puke and vomit when we hear them talk. This is what makes us bite nails. They don't care about your family. Oh, they're worried about my daughter. I can't believe I'm subjecting my daughter to this. No, your daughter's been subjected to this ever since she was born, ma'am, because you have made LA into this. You're the vice mayor. You and Bass have done a jam-up job. What about the families that don't wake up to just one encampment? They walk. I saw a guy tonight on Jesse. They interviewed him, and I'm not trying to be coy and crash about it. He said that he's had to basically get 3 different pairs of shoes over the last 2 weeks because of the human excrement. I'm not talking about animal excrement, but the human excrement. Number 2, for those of you that know what I'm talking about, that's on the streets of LA, that you walk through, that's not being cleaned up. It's been 1.5 years since the Palisades fire, and multiple homes, dozens of homes, hundreds of homes have not even been rebuilt because of Bass's absolute refusal to release permits because of zoning and climate change pressure and all these environmentalists. And LA, you want this again? You want to keep doing this? Then do it. It's up to you. Look, it's not my city. I don't live there. I'm pulling for Spencer Pratt from an outsider looking in. I really am. Because your choice is this or Karen Bass. And it burns me up. When she said that tonight, I saw that video and it burned me up because it's like, you're concerned about your daughter, but you're not concerned about the families of LA. And she's acting so shocked that an encampment was outside of her house. She does want them. They've had the chance to get rid of them for 2 years and they've refused to do it. So, as I told James Akers one night, diapers and politicians are changed for the same reason. I'll let you fill in the blank on that one. How about that? I won't say what I was going to say. All righty. This is Dennis Quaid. Real quick, and then I'm going to take your questions. It's 11:15. I'm going to take some questions from you. This is Samuel Jackson. He's endorsing Karen Bass. No surprise there. No surprise there. But I thought they had a video of Dennis Quaid. I'll have to find that. I thought they had it online. But Dennis Quaid and Pratt have been very critical of Bass. And Quaid says, we don't need more government. We need common sense, accountability, and a mayor that shows up for everybody. And Quaid's got an endorsement of Adam Carolla and James Woods, Joe Rogan, and other libertarians and others. And again, when Quaid was asked about Pratt tonight, he just said, hey, look around, look at the city, look at what's happened. And the very liberal Hollywood's going to go for Bass. But anyway, I'm sure we're going to see more of this. Tellerico was going to say transgender children are perfect, beautiful, and sacred. Some of those names and some of those videos are going to keep going on out there. There's the story we read you tonight, and a couple of other stories that are on the news site. If you go to our Telegram room, a lot of these stories are there. There's been another somewhat threat to Amy Comey Barrett again, and just sort of saying I would follow us on there. There was a Chicago area Democrat arrested for casting a ballot on behalf of her deceased mother, but we're being told all the time, there's no voter fraud. No, that's not happening. Democrats don't cheat in elections. Well, that one did. She's arrested tonight, and I hope she spends 50 years in jail for it. But anyway, that's the news headlines off of Gateway Pundit tonight. And follow us on the Telegram room, and we'll have a lot of that there and so forth. We're going to watch this Iran deal. We'll be with our buddy James Akers tomorrow night. We're going to see him and spend the evening and have lunch and catch a game with him tomorrow night and talk to him and his family, and I'm sure he'll have a lot to say. And we'll be back with him next week. And anyway, I'm grateful that you're with us tonight. If you got any questions, Jim, you says, how much more crazy can it be than what we have now? This is all I guess. Anyway, people poop, Jim. People poop is right. If you got any questions or comments tonight, it's your turn now. 15 minutes, we'll take your questions, and we'll be glad to take them. It is lunacy. What planet? Jenny, I don't know, buddy. It's not this one, I can tell you that. Pat, it is, Jenny, and your statement about the jurors are both correct. There needs to be jury nullification, and that's one thing that's happened. There has been an appeals court that has put a stop to the payment of that money until further investigation, and I believe they're going to nullify that jury verdict. I may be wrong about that, but they were anti-Trump jurors, Pat and Deb, but that goes back to having a case tried in that area, and that's what these Dems do. They get these cases tried in anti-Trump districts, and you're always going to have anti-Trump jurors, and it's not fair. That's just not fair. Justice is blind. It should not be a political endeavor. It's a legal endeavor. It was a civil case, and this again, I hope that the justice system gets to the bottom of it, and justice really is given, but it's given to her because she needs justice in the most deepest of ways. And there was something else I was going to say about that. Oh, and it made me think about Pam Bondi tonight, folks. We need to pray for our former Attorney General, Pam Bondi. She was diagnosed, and she's got throat cancer, and she's not doing well right now. And despite my differences, and despite me, I had a lot of hope. I really did. When Trump nominated her, I was very optimistic, very, very optimistic about her. And I even told you on this program a year ago, I remember it. I said, just give it time and things will play out one way or the other. And if she's not doing what Trump feels like she's going to do, they'll get rid of her. And, I don't know if the cancer is why she stepped down. Tulsi Gabbard's husband's got cancer. But regardless, that's not important right now. What is important is Pam Bondi's health. And I do salute her. I was in Florida when she was down there, Secretary of State, and she's a good lady. She's a good person. She may have been a little over her head with the Attorney General's job, but me and my brothers are slightly disagreeing. He believes that she was the deep state plan. I'm not going to say he's wrong, but I'm not going to say he's right either. I know that there's people that think that, and I guess time will only tell. But as far as this part goes, we don't. That's not an issue here. I just pray for her and her family tonight. I really do, because I don't want to see anybody with cancer. Now, that's not how the left feels. The left is celebrating that. And there's videos out there of people gloating and gleeing and telling her they hope she dies from it. That's the left. That's the left. And we should not act like that. But anyway, Pat, you says, do you think Trump is giving Iran too much time? Pat, I don't, and I'll tell you why. I think Trump is not going to put up with any foolishness. JD said tonight, if they fire at us, or Rubio said tonight, if they keep firing at us, we're going to fire back. Trump has got an interview coming up with his daughter-in-law Saturday night, Laura Trump, and he basically tells her, he says, we've got all the cards, and he says, if Iran fails to uphold their end of the bargain, we are going to go back and we are going to obliterate them. He said, we've got the power to do it. And I don't think he's giving them too much time. I think that he's trying his best not to have to go back in and kill people. I mean, look, given Iran a week, I mean, this regime, you can't trust him. And I think that Trump's at least trying with everything in him to give them every single opportunity he can for them to remain in existence. And we'll see. at least this regime, the nation of Iran is not going anywhere. Persia's not going nowhere. But this regime is going somewhere if they continue to do what they're doing. And Magdalene's talking about regime change tonight. I don't I don't see boots on the ground coming. But I personally believe that the United States, and we've made this mistake in Iraq, we cannot import our form of democracy to these nations. They don't want it. But what we can do is get rid of this threat that's trying to get a nuclear weapon that would bomb the whole Middle East and send this world into World War III or VI. And look, even getting a moderate, even getting some kind of person that's not anti-America but not pro-America is better than what we got now. And I think that that's what he's holding out for. And I guess time will only tell whether that's the right strategy, buddy. I will tell you this. I don't look for him to play around with them. I don't. That's why I don't really worry about the timetable. If it was Chris, I wouldn't be giving him 60 days. But that's why Chris is running his mouth here and not president, because I'd get us in trouble. I would get us in trouble. But anyway, Steve, you says, could Trump be waiting until after the midterm? No, absolutely not. I don't think that's it. It's thyroid cancer, Renee. Well, whatever it is, cancer. Still throat cancer. Thyroid's in your throat, Renee. But Stephen, to your point, he said he brings that up about the midterm. He said that if he was a normal politician and he was worried about the midterms, he wouldn't have done this to begin with. He said anybody in their right mind wouldn't have even bombed Iran in the first place if he was worried about the midterms. He said, because we don't have enough time really to recover. And he said, I've got faith in the American people that they understand what we're doing. And gas prices, oil fell to $88 a barrel today, and I think they're going to continue to fall as long as this Strait of Hormuz gets settled. Gas dropped all the way down. It dropped almost 60 cents a gallon here in Tennessee today. It went down to $3.75. We were at $4.30 here just a week ago for Memorial Day. And but Trump, I don't think he thinks in those terms. Most Republicans would, any politician would. But I can tell you Trump don't think like that, buddy. So I know. I don't think it matters. I don't think. And I think that's what Iran, to Deb's point and to your point, it's what Iran's counting on. Because they're hoping for the midterms to go the other way for Trump, and these Dems get in there and tie his hands, because that's what's going to happen if they take power. But Trump don't care. Trump is, and I will tell you this, the Dems can squeal and moan and do everything they want to do. They got no power right now. And we as Christian believers need to be getting very serious right now and make it our priority that we vote in 26 just as we voted in 24. And understand that we're voting again for the president. It's like a presidential election in November. It just is. It's a presidential election. But anyway. Yeah, Cleo, thank you for that. It's Pam Bondi. Susan Wiles has got cancer. Vanessa Trump and Tulsi's husband, Abraham. Yeah, speaking of Vanessa, I forgot Vanessa. Vanessa was diagnosed with cancer. And Susie Wiles, who is a wonderful woman. Trump could not have picked a better chief of staff for the Washington White House than Susie Wiles. There's no better individual in this world in D.C. than her. And it just seems like there's a lot of people within that inner circle of D.C. that's been fighting this cancer. And, I behoove us as Christian believers to pray for all these individuals. I do, because they need it. And I just hate to hear anything of this sort. I really do. Anyway, all right. Couple more minutes, and we're going to wrap it up tonight. Let's see what else we got over here. Rador, it's good to see you tonight. Thank you for that. Thank you. Good to see you. And Anything else tonight? I'm trying to see if we've got any questions. Anyway. All righty. I don't see anything coming in, so I guess we have wowed you for the night. Good to see Harry Hunter in the house tonight. Wesley, good to see you. Good to see you, Jim Howard. Nice to meet you tonight. Jim says people poop. That's what the guy said, brother. It's what he said. He said I couldn't walk a block. I had to change shoes 3 times. It's got to be pretty bad. I thank God I don't live in LA. I do. I got to tell you something. Caleb was sitting at the table with me. Him and Carroll. We had lunch with them or supper with them Monday night. It was a week ago. It may have been Memorial Day night. Or I don't know when it was. It was last week, but whenever. And they were talking about places that, because the Air Force gives you a little checklist. They hand you a sheet of paper and say, these are the bases. When he gets out of boot, he's going to get to choose. Like, they get a wish list of about 6 or 7 places. And Carla was sitting there. She says, I think we want to go live in California. And I like to choke on my Coke. And I said, nope. I said, don't. She looked at me, and Caleb looked at me, and they were staring a hole through me. And Dad had to explain to them, Jim, what's going on in L.A. And I said, you don't want to go to L.A. and you don't want to go to California. Not right now, at least. I said, maybe things will be changed by the time you get out of boot. But I said, you don't want to go there. I said, you can go somewhere else. And Californians, listen, we got some dear people. John Quallen's in the house. He's from California. And there's a lot of California people that listen to this show. We ain't saying that to make fun of you. I'm saying that because I'm concerned for your state. And we got some dear friends out there, and we're coming out there to do a conference. And I'm telling you, I feel for you. I mean, the government of California is that state. I've been through there a couple of times in my life. It's a beautiful state, top to bottom. And the Azusa outpouring, one of the greatest Holy Spirit outpourings this country's ever experienced, took place in a little cottage there in Los Angeles. And I wonder sometimes that if that's not why the devil has declared all-out war on that little city of L.A. I don't know if y'all know this or not. Hollywood did not used to be a place of demonic movies and demonic pedophilia and all these things. Hollywood, that area, when the first revival fires of this country started, it started in that general area. It wasn't called Hollywood then, but it used not to be like this. Satan has just taken his fist and really hit hard and brought a lot of evil to a beautiful state. And we as the rest of the country, look, I'm pulling for you. I'm pulling for Spencer Pratt. I really am. And I'm not saying Spencer Pratt's a raging conservative, folks. I'm not pushing him, and I know there's some views with Spencer and me probably wouldn't agree with. But I respect the kids' willingness to tell it like it is and tell the truth about what's going on in L.A. and at least offer the people of L.A. a chance and a way out of this. That he's got my utmost respect for. And miracles do happen. That's why I wore my USA hockey shirt, because miracles happened this year. First time in 46 years that the Americans won the gold medal in hockey. Last time we did was the Miracle on Ice in 1980. And we got the World Cup coming. And a lot of people believe that the United States men's team may pull off another miracle too. I love this country. I love the Lord. I love all of you tonight. Love my family. Love my wife. Love my kids, my grandkids. That's why we're on this show every night, pleading our heart out with you to stay the course, keep the faith, do what's right by your country, pray for your country, pray for your leaders, support President Trump, folks. Get out and vote. And don't let this jihadi takeover and fascism ruin our nation. We don't hate a soul. We don't hate any people group. We don't. It's not about hatred of any group. We don't. But I love my nation. And I love democracy, and I love freedom. I love freedom. I love being free. And we better start fighting for our rights, because if we lose them, we're not going to get them back. And I say that often on this show, and I'll leave you with that tonight. God bless you out there. God bless your families. God bless this great nation of America. Thank you, Mac, for answering the call tonight. Appreciate you, kid. And hope you enjoyed the show. Put some fire in that house. I won't be with you tomorrow night. Bible students, I'll see you in the morning early. And then we'll see you back here Sunday, though, for our faith show. We may see you Saturday night on the faith side with the gospel sing, depending on what time we get back from up the north a little bit. And but we're going to take a night off and enjoy our dear friends' company, James and Mabel Akers. And I'm looking forward to seeing my friends and having some fellowship with them tomorrow night. I haven't been able to do it in a long time. And I've been going nonstop. I've been very worn out this week a little bit for some reason, so I'm taking a night off. And I know you won't mind that. Listen, I love you. Appreciate every one of you, and I'll see you back here in the morning and then see you over the weekend with Faith. We got a great lineup of guests coming next week, some new guests, and some folks we couldn't get on this week because of scheduling. They'll be back with us next week. We love you all. Have a good night, everybody. Pray for your country. Pray for America. And pray for each other. And may the Lord bless you tonight. Have a good one. Good night, everybody.